Sometimes I don't have a topic to talk about, but there is a lot of things to talk about. Um, if we speak about humanity, we can and humanity and YouTube, of course. We can see how historians, archaeologists, they always wish they could have a legacy from the past. And the legacy from the past is writings, drawings, cultural artifacts. In our case, we are seeing a generation ago, we still used to have diaries in which people write things, and and people in the future can read them if the diaries are taken care of. Everything comes from my experience on YouTube, because YouTube is the window to the world for me at the moment, besides my real life. So, what I want to talk about is diaries. There is a museum in England, somewhere, it must be in England, where they keep some sort of diaries, and they must have at least 20,000 diaries, even from the Victorian era, which is when diaries were more en vogue. People used to write. Also, if we go back to the first diaries were books of laws written on stone by the Mesopotamian cultures, going to the first cities, which I'm a total fan of the city of Ur, because I want to. And from there we follow the path towards the Romans, but of course we have to follow it through the Phoenicians, Greeks, Hittites, and all of that comprise a Western civilization, because it's a Western civilization tree or roots. They start one way and they creep out towards the West, and now we are in America 2026, and I'm here talking about diaries and on making a videos not almost daily, but whenever I can and whenever I have things in my mind to talk about. Even though nobody hears my videos, I'm happy to know that in the future my videos will be a legacy for future archaeologists to understand the present. Although the present is always the same, I believe humans believe the same during thousands of years. Humans in the past knew that the earth was round because of eclipses. If you see the eclipse, you can see that the earth is round due to the shadows angles, but also you have the doubt that the earth is flat. So we are on the same dilemma now, and we are at the same dilemma, at the same level in economic things, because we are seeing a lot of economical advantages, but the economical advantages are not for the people on the lower echelons of life. In the past, people on the lower echelons used to be slaves. In the Roman times, slaves used to be the smartest people, because they had to think on how to do things more efficiently and invent things. So inventing things, it was more of a thing for slaves in the ancient Roman times, because they did not want to work as hard, while the rich, the elite, Roman elites in the past, they were more akin to parties and they were more akin to extravagances and pleasures, because they did not have the understanding to global domination as we have it now, because there was not a global thing. It was the empire, and outside the empire there was the barbarians, and then the barbarians or other civilizations, unknown or weird animals. Romans used to think that Yemen was full of flying snakes. You know, yeah. So we have there's a lot of things in the universe that we do not know, and talking about it may help us to understand things. Yeah. Oh, so that's what I want to talk. I'm talking, and I know that this may be boring because it doesn't have a topic and it doesn't have a real solution for people. It does not have anything. It's like a rant without purpose, but as somebody a little bit famous said, whoever has eyes, then he can hear, and whoever has a tongue can speak, right? So, and whoever has a camera can post on YouTube. The only problem is that if you don't have followers, then you are totally doomed, right? Yeah. So economical things, what I wanted to talk about is how middlemen are the total breaking point of civilization. From the top, the leaders, they want to do good, like President Trump, he signed rules economic rules to start trickling down currency for towards the people. The only problem is that all the currency is overtaken by middlemen, and then the middlemen, they charge exorbitant amounts of money, which is what I am really complaining about, because like for instance, let's talk about me in a fantasy form. Yeah. So if I'm President Trump, I open the vaults to the treasure vault. I open it for to have economical movement. The only problem is that I give the money to him, and him, I give it almost a 1% of interest. He will add a 10% interest, and he will charge a 25%, and then it goes trickling down until the people that really needs the money to advance their business, they end up paying 100 or 125 or 150% plus interest on the lending that President Trump set up with 1% interest. So that's a real thing of concern, and how businesses are really being undermined by the greed of others that are the real parasites. So parasites are real are people that are charging exorbitant amounts of money for something that they did not create, and they are just in the middle. They have the chance to lend money at exorbitant amounts, and then they live the happy life, while the people on the floor is crawling, trying to get out of the hole. You know, like for instance, if I want to improve my machinery, I go to somebody and ask for a loan. The only problem is if I want $50,000 machine, somebody will lend me the 50,000. The only problem is that they are gonna try to charge me 10% of a down payment. Well, 20% of a down payment, right? So I have to give 10,000 to get 50,000. So I will be getting 40,000 in fact, and then from there I have to end up paying another. At the end, I'll be paying 100,000. Why? because the interests are like that. That's what it's killing businesses. And then the business owner is extremely stressed because he has to make payments, and the reality is that at the moment things went twice the price on everything. You have to pay rent, which is another thing that I want to talk about, but in a way. You have to pay rent, and you have to pay wages, and you have to pay material and tools already went twice the price than they were 10 years ago, and wages are mostly the same wages that they were 20 years ago. Like for instance, I've been doing my same kind of work for 25 years. I've been doing the same for 25 years, and it's almost the same wage. President Trump signed a law cutting taxes to industrial rentals to help the industry. The only problem is that he lowered the taxes, and then predatory investment rental companies, they went up on the rental because people had more money to pay. So it's a predatory system everywhere you look at, and the only one being eaten is the one on the floor, like myself, right? So this is not, there is no solutions. The only thing that we can do is understand the fact and try to lower our desires to buy things, and sacrifice ourselves, saving for our peers, our family, saving. Yeah. So at the moment, the United States is engaged in an economic war because everybody needs money to buy things, everybody needs money to pay for things, because the people at top, they need more money to buy themselves things. They need the problem is the need to grow. The problem is the need to have. The problem is the need to pay. So at the end, what's the problem? The problem is the need. The need. So I hope that in the future we start turning into monks that try to lower the need to have a need. Yeah, there is no options. There is nothing else. Yeah, we are being guided into wars which are totally false, which are totally nonsense, like the Middle Eastern wars. Those are totally nonsense. If everybody forgets religion and everybody just tries to focus on growing culturally, then things will get better. Yeah, but we are guided like sheep towards the slaughterhouse, or we are being invaded by leeches from atop and from the middle, by the middleman. My battery ran out of use, so yeah, I hope that this video gives you a sense of understanding, maybe not a sense of hope, maybe not a sense of anything else, but just an understanding that we have to be better ourselves, because nobody else is gonna be better. That's the reality. Nobody's gonna help us. Nobody's gonna. Things are not gonna change. The only thing that is gonna change is if we teach the young people to not to be prey to needs, not to be prey to want things, because that's what turns us into slavery. Even pleasure turns us into slavery. So the camera ran out of battery again. So thank you for listening to until now. If you've been hearing until now, it means that you are a winner. Thank you. Bye.